y'all. Y'all come on in. Y'all want some cake? Me too. Let's go ahead and make some of my grandma's sweet bread, aka pound cake. Let's get started, y'all. All right, to make this sweet bread, we're gonna start with 2 sticks of unsalted butter, half a cup of shortening, and 2 teaspoons vanilla, and 3 cups of sugar. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna cream this for about 8 to 12 minutes until it gets nice, thick, and fluffy and lightens in color. So we're gonna turn this mixer on. And remember to scrape down the sides of your bowl as well. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and scrape down the sides of the bowl because the sides is full of sugar and butter and shortening. And we want to get that in the cake, not on the side of the bowl. So we want to make sure we get everything in the bowl, and we're going to turn it back on. And just crank it up high. And I'll be right back when this gets done for 8 to 12 minutes to get light and fluffy and lightened up in color. All right, you guys, it's been about 10 minutes and look how nice and fluffy it is. This is what happens when you let it go and beat for about 8 to 12 minutes. It lightens up, it gets thick and fluffy. This is what you want it to do while you make your cake. All right, so our next ingredient we're gonna add 5 eggs to this. So we're just gonna add them in 2 at a time because we don't wanna over mix those eggs because you do want your cake to rise and be nice and tender. You don't wanna have it over processed because you added the eggs and you just kept letting it beat. So I'm gonna add them in 2 at a time, 5 eggs. And you just let it go until the yellow is almost gone. And then you add the next one. Well, you saw that yolk, that white just flop in there. That's all right. It'll be okay. It won't hurt a thing. So 3 fell in there. That's okay too. It'll be just fine. Just fine. Crank it up a little bit so that yolk is blended in well. All right, scrape down the bowl. So just scrape in the bowl, make sure you get everything incorporated. Scrape down the beater, make sure everything in that beater is incorporated. Get all of it, best you can. All right, next up, we have 3 cups of all-purpose flour and 2 teaspoons of baking powder, along with 1.5 cups of milk. Now this includes a 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons of evaporated milk and a 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons of whole buttermilk. So we're gonna alternate the buttermilk with the flour, start with the flour and end with the flour. And we're gonna beat it on low because once you start it, you don't wanna over mix it by beating it too fast. So we're gonna have it on the lowest setting, which should be a number 2. Add the flour. You can do this in 3 parts, 4 parts, however you want to. As long as you get it all in there, starting with the flour and end with the flour. All right, and the rest of the flour. Just let it get a good mix. Turn that off. Scrape it down one more time, but I'm not going to turn the mixer back on to add the rest of what's gathered around. I just stir it up by hand because I don't want to over mix it. Over mix it, you have a bunch of air bubbles. You don't want air bubbles. And it won't be as tender if it's been over mixed. All right, that beater's clean enough because, you know, I like to eat the beater. Well, get the batter off the beater. It's been my favorite part since I was a little girl. It's like the best part of the whole cake process. Look at that. Just want to get all of that in there. Make sure everything is mixed in there well without over mixing it. All right, I got my pan here. Already sprayed with some nonstick spray. I like to use that pan baking with the flour already mixed in. All righty, look how thick it is. That's gonna be good. And this is going to go into a cold oven. For me, the way my grandmother used to make her sweetbread or pound cake, she did not preheat the oven. She put it in a cold oven. And I actually like the way pound cake turns out when I put it into a cold oven. It seems to be just a little bit more moist and more tender, at least to me. Maybe just my mind playing tricks on me because that's what my grandma did. And you know, we always do what our grandparents or our mother does, so it just seems to work better. So that's what I go with. And for me, with my oven, you do it according to your oven, but my oven works better at 300 instead of the normal 325. So this is going to go in a 300-degree oven for 55 minutes. Just smooth it around. Make sure it's about as even as possible. All right. All right, let's get this in the oven. And you can tap the side, you can tap the bowl on the counter to release some air bubbles as well. Or you can do it with your hand, just to release some of those air bubbles. So let's pop this in the oven. All right, y'all, so I took my cake out the oven, my grandma cake, and this is what happened when you check your cake too soon. Look, my cake fall. Not it fell, my cake fall. So I only checked it 2 minutes before the time is up. I checked it at 55 minutes as opposed to 57. It failed, but you know what? I'm gonna eat this cake. So let's see how it looks when I flip it out. It may have failed, y'all, but look at that. It still look good. Look good to you? Because this looks good to me. So you know, let's try it out. Let's give it a taste.
You sure did grab a big knife.
Well, I'm supposed to get a steak knife.
Grab them knife big enough to cut a turkey.
It's all right, though. It fell, y'all. Look how thick that is. That cake don't look like it's all flat. It looks so good. Well, I can't pick it up with one hand because, y'all, it's heavy. I'm just going to mess this cake up, but that's all right. That's all right. Y'all look at that. Look, look. Can y'all see it? Don't that look good? Don't that look good? I'm going to taste it. My camera person is my sister. You want to taste it?
Okay, I'll try a piece. And then she gave me the whole slice.
I didn't. You just tasted.
That's good.
Y'all.
I like this one better than the other one.
Y'all, this is so good. My grandma's sweet bread recipe, y'all. AKA pound cake. Look at that. It may have fell a little bit, but it's so good. It's so good. Bye.